It's 11 a.m. on a random Tuesday. You are sitting in the waiting room of a private wealth management firm. The floor is polished gray marble, so smooth you can see your own reflection in it. Next to you sits a man. He is wearing a gray t-shirt that has been washed one too many times. His jeans are worn thin at the knees. His sneakers lost their original color about 3 years ago. The receptionist glances at him sideways, assuming he wandered into the wrong building looking for a loan modification. When his name is finally called, he stands up slowly, unhurried, and walks toward the glass-walled office. You happen to see his name pop up on the digital appointment screen a few seconds later. Next to his name, in small, discrete text, is his portfolio value, $14 million. In that exact second, you understand something most people spend their entire lives misunderstanding. Real money almost never looks like anything. What you actually see in the world is something else entirely. Over the next 10 minutes, we are going to break down why the people who have the most money are usually the ones who show it the least, and why that behavior isn't an accident or cheapness or eccentricity. It is a highly calculated strategy, one that protects money, grows it, and keeps it from becoming a target. To understand this, we have to look at the exact opposite scene. It's Saturday night. You're in the parking lot of an expensive restaurant. A brand new sports car roars in, taking up 2 spaces because the driver is terrified of door dings. A couple steps out, dressed head to toe in logos you can read from 50 feet away. Everyone turns to look. Everyone comments. That couple just spent more on that car and those clothes than the median American saves in 5 years. But what almost nobody asks is, how much do they owe? How much credit card debt are they carrying? How many months behind are they on the lease? How much money will they have left in the bank after that dinner? Here's the central problem we need to take apart today. We live in a culture that fundamentally confuses spending with having. It confuses looking successful with actually possessing something. For most of human history, flashing wealth made sense. If you had a gold ring or a fine horse, it proved you had resources because producing those symbols cost real labor. But the world changed. Today, buying the appearance of wealth is easier than it has ever been in human history. Credit exists. 7-year car loans exist. You can rent a luxury watch for a weekend just for an Instagram photo. The gap between looking rich and being rich has never been wider. Yet, most people still treat outward signals as if they mean something. This creates what I call the social theater. Everyone is performing for an audience that, in reality, doesn't have nearly as much money as it appears to have either, and is performing right back. It is a closed loop of people impressing each other with money most of them don't actually have, financed by debt nobody can see. Let's put this into a concrete example, because abstract ideas land better as real math. Picture 2 people. Both are 35 years old. Both earn exactly $90,000 a year. Let's call them Person A and Person B. Person A decides they want the world to know things are going well. They buy a new car with a $650 monthly payment. They move to an apartment in a trendy zip code, paying $400 more a month than they actually need. They refresh their wardrobe every season. They eat out at expensive restaurants, partly because they enjoy it, and partly because they want their social media to show an attractive life. By the end of the month, between the car, the rent, the clothes, and the nights out, there is barely anything left, and whatever is left disappears into an unexpected expense. Person B, on the exact same salary, does something entirely different. They drive a 6-year-old car that is already paid off. They live in a modest apartment in a safe but completely unremarkable neighborhood. Their clothes are simple, comfortable, and functional. They don't post their financial life online. Nobody who sees them on the street would guess they make $90,000 a year. Every month, a significant chunk of their paycheck gets automatically routed into index funds and retirement accounts, before that money ever gets a chance to become a purchase. 10 years later, the difference between these 2 lives isn't subtle. It isn't a difference of a few $1,000s. It's a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars, thanks to the compounding effect on all the money Person B chose not to spend on appearances. And here is the most interesting part. From the outside, during those 10 years, Person A looked like the successful one. Person B looked, at best, average, someone without much apparent ambition, but the financial reality was exactly the opposite. The public perception of success and actual financial success are almost never the same thing. In fact, they are often directly opposed, because every dollar you spend to look successful is a dollar that can no longer work to actually make you successful. Now, here is where this gets deeper than just a save more tip. Looking poor, or more accurately, looking discreet, isn't only a matter of financial common sense. It is a matter of active, physical protection. And this is something people with real money tend to understand almost instinctively. Think of invisibility as a layer of security. When the way you dress, the car you drive, and the house you live in don't reveal how much you have, you become a much less attractive target for several things at once. You become less attractive to theft and fraud because nobody identifies you as worth scamming. You become less attractive to aggressive salespeople because they don't read you as an easy upsell. They don't push the extended warranty or the premium package. You become less attractive to relatives or acquaintances looking for a small loan because they don't assume you're sitting on extra cash. And oddly enough, you become less attractive to opposing lawyers in any legal dispute. Lawyers who work on contingency tend to weigh not just who is right, but who can actually pay. Visible wealth looks like wealth worth chasing. There is a phrase that circulates among high-end wealth advisors that sums this up bluntly. Money you can see gets asked for, envied, or sued. Money you can't see just keeps growing. Let's dig a little deeper into the psychology of this. Why do we fall for the trap? Spending money to look successful triggers an almost instant social reward. When someone admires your new car or compliments your outfit, your brain releases a hit of immediate dopamine. It's a fast reward, visible, and very easy to get again and again. Investing money, on the other hand, doesn't offer that instant reward. Nobody stops you on the street to congratulate you for transferring $500 into your brokerage account this month. There is no photo to post. There is no instant hit of social admiration. The reward for investing arrives much later, often years later, in the form of financial freedom, options, and peace of mind. It's a much bigger reward, but a much slower one, and the human brain naturally prefers the immediate over the delayed. This, underneath everything, is the quiet financial battle playing out inside every person every single day, instant gratification against long-term building. The people who manage to accumulate real wealth are, almost without exception, the ones who learned to tolerate the boredom of not getting that immediate reward. They understood they were building something far more valuable in the background. Let's look at one final example that illustrates this perfectly, far from private banks. In the ordinary world of small business, picture the owner of a neighborhood laundromat. He's been washing and pressing clothes on the same corner for 20 years. He drives an old, dented van that he uses for deliveries. He wears the same comfortable work pants every day. Nobody in the neighborhood would peg him as a man of money. Yet that business, after 2 decades of steady cash flow, disciplined reinvestment, and zero unnecessary debt, is worth over $2 million today. And he owns 3 other storefronts he rents out to local businesses. Compare that to another business owner on the same street, someone who opened a trendy cafe just 5 years ago. This man drives a brand new truck, financed to the limit. He spent aggressively on an aesthetic build-out and projects an image of instant success. The problem is, his business barely brings in enough to cover the truck payment, the rent, and the advertising. One bad quarter, one dip in customers, and that entire facade collapses. The difference between these 2 business owners isn't intelligence or effort. Both work hard. The difference is what they chose to prioritize first, the appearance of success or the substance behind it. Let's go back to the man from the private bank we opened with, the one with the $14 million in the gray t-shirt. He didn't always have $14 million. He started with a modest salary and no special inheritance. What he did have, from a young age, was a clear decision about what kind of life he wanted to build, and that decision never included impressing anyone. For more than 20 years, he drove used cars bought with cash. He lived in modest homes, even after his net worth crossed $1 million. He consistently reinvested a large share of his income month after month, without interruption, without making exceptions for, "This time I deserve it." People who knew him only on the surface probably thought of him as average, maybe even someone who hadn't accomplished much by typical visual standards. But while that outside perception stayed flat, his net worth grew exponentially, quietly, invisible to almost everyone. And here is the final twist of this story, the one I want you to walk away with when this video ends. That man could, at any moment, buy the most expensive car on the lot, the biggest house in the neighborhood, the most exclusive clothes in any store. He has more than enough money to do it 10 times over without even noticing the impact on his net worth. But he chooses not to, not because he can't, but because he figured out a long time ago that real freedom isn't being able to buy expensive things. Real freedom is not needing anyone to know that you can. Looking rich is a performance that costs money constantly. It requires upkeep. It depends on other people's approval. Being free, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need outside validation. It simply exists, growing in the background, protected, while you live your life without the constant pressure to prove something to people who, honestly, probably don't think about you nearly as much as you imagine. So, the next time someone gives you a second glance because your car isn't the newest, or your clothes don't carry a visible logo, remember this. Invisibility isn't a weakness. It is very likely the most reliable sign that you are building something real. I'll see you in the next one.